It's your boy, Ed the Dread, aka Eddie Money Mouth. And you are tuned into the Money Mouth Podcast. Yes, sir. Whoo, welcome back, everybody. Thank you for tuning in on a Money Mouth Monday. Start of the week. Couldn't be greater. You know what I'm saying? Most people hate Mondays. I love them, but I'm crazy. Okay? So today on the Money Mouth Podcast, what we are going to talk about is how I ended up on this beautiful island of Maui. Okay? Uh, Beautiful place on earth, one of the best places that I've ever lived. A place where I'm able to live my life freely and express myself, not be hounded by police, harassed, racially profiled, and I've been able to live a much easier life than on the East Coast in America. So the journey here was, um, uh, you know, kind of like journeys to any point in life. It's not a straight line. There's things that go up, down, bing, 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 bing. You might be up here thinking you're gonna go, then you end up down here, then you're kind of level, then so it's never really a straight linear equation to get to where you want to be. It's kind of always jagged, and you gotta, work through things like a vegetable growing in the ground, right? An organic vegetable in the ground has to grow around rocks, hard patches, maybe roots from other things. But them GMO ones, they come out nice and straight and round and beautiful because they're genetically modified. Yeah. So I was actually given an ultimatum to move to Maui by one of my best friends at the time, who is currently now still one of my best friends. His name is Doug. um, we work together in painting, housing restoration, tub restoration, soccer reffing. We shoot videos together. We surf together. Go to the skate park together. We've done a lot of things together. I've took his kid to the skate park. I think I might have been the first person. Uncle was the first guy to take his kid over the locked fence at the skate park. I know mom probably wouldn't be too stoked about that, but yeah, I lifted him up over the fence, took him in there, and now we like Uncle and Dougie and Youngie skaters. But yeah, it's like my best friend Doug. We've known each other for, I don't know now, maybe 20 years, close to 20 years, something like that. 15 years, I don't know. But I met him because we played college soccer at the same college. So I graduated from Monmouth University, or actually, I didn't even graduate. I just left and played soccer, and then came back and graduated. There was a little bit of extracurricular activities going on in my life that caused me to need to go to pro tryouts as opposed to finish school. But that's for another podcast, right? So I ended up playing professionally for 4 years after college, one in Richmond and then three in Pittsburgh. So in Pittsburgh, it got to a point where I was just driving 6 hours all the way across the state, straight to the beach, or all the way across the state, straight to the beach on my day off to surf for like 6 hours, to turn around and drive 6 hours back and then be like at work the next day. So that is when I decided that, you know what I'm saying, I had to kind of give up pro soccer and move back to the beach. Uh, when I did, Doug and I, linked up. I had been spending my off seasons training with the college team. So I would, spend the whole season. I think the season was like 7 months of the year. And before I started living full time in Pittsburgh, what I would do was I would, play my pro season, go back to the college town, like live with one of my homies on somebody's couch or something, like work whatever jobs I had to work, and still, train with the team. So when Doug was on the team, I was a guy who was coming back and playing. And then once I retired from soccer, professional soccer, Doug had actually retired from collegiate soccer. I don't believe he finished all 4 years. I think he might have done 2, 3, and then was like, I'm over it. Want to surf and live my life. At that point, I think he was getting really deep into yoga sana. So he may have even done the first yoga sana class that wasn't like a actual accredited course through the university. Him and his friend. But regardless, one day I showed up. I was like done playing pro soccer. I moved back, a straight shot across the state, moved back into a friend of mine's house who wasn't there, and I ain't know nobody with no weed. So, you know what I'm saying? I go to the college soccer game and I see Doug. And it, you know what I'm saying? We'll put a picture of him up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, generally speaking, if you're walking around like a town and you're looking for herb, a guy that looks like me or looks like him are probably the people you're gonna like roll up to. And I can't stand it sometimes, but it's the way it is. So I seen him and I was like, oh god, this guy definitely smokes, you know. And he's like at the game, like, hey dog, weren't you on the team? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, yeah, what's up, bro? I'm at the J. Oh, I'm dog, yeah. It was like, and so we're chilling. I was like, yo, you gonna watch the game? You gonna, yeah, what you gonna do after the game? He's like, I don't know, go back to the dorm. I'm like, what's up, dog? You know where weed's at? And he's just like, obviously. And then there we were, best friends. Again, weed is a popular thing, so we end up burning. I mean, I was like older, so I had soccer coaching jobs. Him and his roommate Alec, who's another one of my best friends, lives out here right now on Hawaii Island. Um, they were living together in dorms, and it was like I would, back when you're in college, you don't have the most, you're not the most affluent. So, I was like the uncle that would come by with like a 30 pack, like a eighth of herb on a Thursday. We'd watch Good Vibes and Beavis and Butthead. And, I'd get as fucked up as I could and then I'd just leave it all with him and go, all right, guys, you just hold that for the rest of your week or whatever. So it was a pretty good relationship we had at that time. But later on, Doug ends up living on my couch for the summer. He graduated college with a degree in child psychology, which I believe is like almost equivalent to training small animals, especially smart animals like dolphins. So he had, um, what do you call that? An internship at Six Flags to train, the animals in the aquarium. And his parents' house was way far away. So, to stay relatively close to his internship, he lived on my couch, which fast forward, nah, God, what year was it? I don't even know. Whatever year Hurricane Sandy happened, boom, we're in Hurricane Sandy. You know what I'm saying? So, Doug actually stayed in my crib. We helped our community. We did all like as much as you could do for 14 days straight, with no power, no electricity, fucking dirty water coming up your toilets. You know what I'm saying? We was taking dumps in the holes in the yard, and that's real. So, for those of you that lived through Hurricane Sandy, bro, we were with you. You know what I'm saying? Like we remember that shit. That shit was crazy. But once Hurricane Sandy was over, we took a trip to Costa Rica, which we had already planned, but it just so happened that it lined up perfectly. So Doug, myself, and another homie Tom, we all fly to Costa Rica, and now from Costa Rica, Doug's got this flight to Hawaii, and like I never see him again. Like literally. Like not even on social media, you know what I'm saying? And I had no clue until I came out here, but that's generally what's gonna happen if you're like an active person and shit. You're just not gonna care about any of that stuff. You're gonna show up here and go, whoa, are you serious? And then live your life. Uh, so he just disappeared off the face of earth, really. But I was in this super motivated mode in my life to like, I mean, I've kind of always been the person that likes to inspire people, leads by example. It's like why I was always the captain of my soccer teams and such. So I garnered up a crew of homies. It was Doug, it was the homie Alec on Big Island, it was my homegirl Meg, and my brother, and then another homie that I grew up with who played music. And we all were writing this blog for a website that I had called the Tribe of Good Vibes. And essentially it was like, all my friends were kind of like making it to the point where they wanted to be on the thing that they loved. So I was like, well, if we're all doing it, like why don't we make something so we can show other people that it's possible too, and then da 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 da. So we made this blog website and Doug was writing for it. He was out here, and then he and Alec just kind of fell off, and I'm all like, well, what the fuck's going on? But the reality of it is, like I said, when you live out here, there's so much stuff to do. Like I get up at 3 every day, and I'm like, I do so much stuff by the time it's 9 p.m. that like shit, every day molds together for me damn near. Um, but yeah, so Doug and Alec had stopped writing the blog, and it was just like at that point in my life, we were still in contact, but I was like in a relationship. I was living with the woman and her child, and it was just a shitty scenario. Like you think you're in this good thing when it's going on, and like you got these like love goggles on, and it is what it is. But ultimately, like, uh, and her family were fucking crazy. So your boy had to break. But before I broke, I was talking to my boy Doug on the phone, and is like his life was so good at the time that like I just felt like he might have some insight, he might be able to tell me something that could help me out with what's going on in my life, and I got what I needed but not what I expected, which was after this long conversation of like how things are going and I'm living with this woman and da 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 da, and like he was silent for a while, and I'm on like, yo, are you still on the phone, and he's just like, hey, all this shit you're saying, man, sounds shitty. He's like, your life sounds like it sucks. And then he was just like, I don't want to hear it ever again. He was like, listen, dude, come to Maui. I've told you a bunch of times and you never listened to me yet. But he's like, and now you should know, like, fucking come to Maui, bro. Literally, don't come to Maui, or like, don't call me back ever unless you have a plane ticket to Maui. And that was like my best friend, bro. Go literally like, hey, dog, love you, but fucking don't you ever call me back. And I was like, what? And then literally our conversation was over, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? But then, my life was so hectic, I just kept moving on. I just bing, 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 you're in this fucking world of shit that you're trying to get out of. So I kind of forgot about that ultimatum, and it was just moved back to my parents' house. I became an ocean rescue lifeguard in Nags Head, Outer Banks, uh, and living my life. I was riding a bike and renting like 2 blocks from the guardhouse, the main guard station. So I didn't really spend a lot of money. I rode my bike everywhere. I just smoked weed. I didn't drink alcohol. Like fuck, I ate food that was just like grown locally. So like even at the grocery store, I didn't spend that much money. So at the end of the lifeguard season, I was like, oh well, what am I gonna do? Like it's kind of like I got to figure out where to move. I got to figure out all this stuff and da da da. And then it was just like, oh, it hit me. I'm like, hold on, maybe I'm supposed to look up a plane ticket to Maui. So I did. And like I don't know. I haven't left this place in so long that I haven't looked up plane tickets in fucking 6.5, 7 years, right? But at that time, it's like I looked up a one-way ticket to Maui, and I think it was like $300 I got it for, which I, to me at that moment that was a great deal. I can't, like I said, I have no perspective now to know if that's a great deal still, but I was like, what, $300 one way ticket? Oh shit, yes, so I bought that ticket and then like had money to be like, hey, like I'm gonna fly to Florida and see the Jug Squad homies. Like, oh, I'm gonna go up here and see these other homies, and then I'm gonna break. So I did that. I went and visited the homies in Florida. I spent some time up in New Jersey. And I was like, yo, fuck it, I'm gonna be out. Uh, and I caught the freaking train from like, oh man, Red Bank, New Jersey, seeing my boy Pete up to freaking, I don't know, maybe Philly or up to New York, and just took off. I don't know. I can't remember the exact airport. Maybe JFK or something. Right? But boom, he's on his way. Took the ultimatum. Don't you ever call me again unless you have a plane ticket. And then when I called him back and I was like, hey, dog, you know what I'm saying? What's up? And he's like, hey. And I'm like, cousin, I got a ticket. I'm on my way out. And he's like, I got a baby in the oven cooking. Like we both were kind of like shocked, but like stoked, So it was like, yeah, fucking, oh my gosh. So I get what I think it was the last seat on 2 flights. I flew from like New York to, or maybe Newark. I flew from Newark to fucking, I don't know, Hartsfield, Atlanta or something, and then from Atlanta to somewhere in California. It was like San Diego, and then San Diego was supposed to be to Maui. And then when we took off, I'm like observant, and I'm like sitting there reading a book, but every now and then I look out the window. I'm like, fucking plane looks like it's bucking a 180 right now, and fucking sure enough, it was. Like 5 minutes later, the captain comes on. He's like, "Yeah, this is your captain speaking. Please do not worry, but we have lost GPS signal. We are turning back to land." It was like we took off in San Diego, bro, and landed in like fucking San Jose once they got over land and found out where the fuck we were at. It was like, yo, could you imagine we're flying straight shot into the middle of fucking nowhere in the ocean? It is like no GPS signal. I was like, oh. So I was shook as shit. I'm like, we gonna get off this thing and then what? Get back? They're like, yo, we're just gonna give you a voucher to eat. We're gonna fix the plane and get back on it. I'm like, fix the plane. But it worked out. You know, we got back on that fucker. I was next to some freaking people from Texas talking about, we're going to Canapally. I don't know where that is. They're like, where are you going? I don't even know. Well, how long are you staying? I don't even know. Just came here with my, hey, that's my skimboard bag. Now, that's all you brought is a skimboard bag in that backpack? Yep, living. Ha ha! Yeah, that's how it goes. And then, you know, I actually had planned to move back to the Outer Banks. You know, the McCalls, great family that, you know, put me up, did everything they could for me. I mean, amazing surf skate family, and part of the community. And then the captain, Chad Motes, he's amazing guy. Like, God, I don't understand how he ever even had the patience and ability to work with so many people and get us all on the same path. But dude, like 6 years ago, you know, I wasn't as forward as I am now. So I was kind of scared to call these people and be like, hey, I'm not coming back. You know, I had done enough hours, I think, my first year to become a supervisor. I put in like 45 days, no break straight, then 1 day off, and like 38 days, no break. And like, I could have been a supervisor and I was going to be, but Honolulu Bay held me back. And my call back to Chad, which you know I've never even spoken to him after. So Chad, I'm gonna have to hit you up, bro. You know I love you. I run a lot now, so we got a lot in common. I met Billy from freaking Born to Run, that book that all y'all love, and just wild scenarios. But Chad, like I said, one of the most understanding guys ever. You know, I don't even know why I didn't just call him because he's cool as shit. It's just one of those things where it's like you feel so bad about what you're doing that you don't want to do it type. But for real, the last call I made to them was probably 4 days before I was supposed to be there. And they were like, "Yo, what? Are you at the airport?" And I was standing at the cave, Honolulu Bay, and it's like fucking 3 foot overhead and just cranking, like barreling at the cave. And I'm just standing up above the cave, like, and I'm like, Chad, you know, like I want to come back, but like, and I just hold the phone out, you know, it's just like, just like the cave firing, bro. People fucking, yeah. And he's like, well, what's that? I'm like, dude, that's Honolulu Bay. I don't think I'm ever coming back. Sorry. And that was it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm here, baby. I've written fucking more songs than most at the Bay. I've spent a lot of time there. I love it. It was the first tattoo that I put on myself. Bay is Bay before anything else. Honolulu Bay. And I'm Goofy Foot. Okay, if that tells you anything. I'm freaking Goofy Foot and Bay is still Bay. Okay, I'm going left no matter what, unless it's the Bay. Like homies ask me that shit all the time, like at the peak. It's like an A-frame. They're like, where are you going, right or left? I'm like, dog, what? Do you see the leash tan on my left ankle? I'm going left. Like, what? But at the Bay, right, going right. Like, it's if you never been there, don't go. The wave sucks. It's the worst wave. There was a yacht stuck out there, and all the oil is still in the water. You're gonna get fucking, you'll get diseased or something. Don't go to the Bay, okay? Everybody, don't go. And that, my people, is how I made it out to Maui. I was given an ultimatum, and I fucking took it and ran with it. And it's been the best time of my life. Uh, Thank you so much. Mahalo nui loa Ikea mokapuni o Maui. Uh, I love you. You know what I'm saying? So we gonna end on that. Yes, y'all. Thank you for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? To another Money Mouth podcast on your Money Mouth Monday. It's your boy Ed the Dread, aka Eddie Money Mouth, aka Luke Lopez, aka the Black Batman, aka Black Bruce Wayne, aka I don't know, Kahulako, aka Little Left Foot, Little Goofy Foot. Just aka yourself, all right? And click like and click subscribe and share if you care. Hui ho kako, thank you so much.